For 3 decades, Fred Rogers welcomed children into his television neighborhood. The gentle, soft-spoken Mr. Rogers died of cancer early this morning.
What if everything you thought you knew about Mr. Fred Rogers was only part of the story? Before his final goodbye, his widow revealed a truth so personal, so unexpected, it changes how we see the man behind the cardigan. Was his greatest secret hidden behind that gentle smile? Stick around, because what Joanne Rogers finally shared will leave you seeing Mr. Rogers in a way you never imagined. What if the most influential children's program in history wasn't built on flashy effects or hyperactive characters, but on the quiet power of one man speaking directly to each child's heart? Let's revisit that neighborhood and uncover the gentle revolution Fred Rogers sparked, with a simple yet extraordinary show that forever changed the landscape of children's television. Fred Rogers never set out to be a television celebrity. His mission was much more intimate. He wanted to meet children exactly where they were, offering comfort and guidance as they navigated overwhelming emotions, endless questions, and tender hearts. With nothing more than his calm voice and kind eyes, he created a sanctuary. When Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood premiered on PBS in 1968, it arrived without the bells and whistles typical of children's programming. There were no high-speed chases or vibrant animations. Instead, Fred would enter through the door, gently hang up his coat, put on his cozy cardigan, switch into sneakers, and softly begin, "Won't you be my neighbor?" It felt like a personal invitation rather than a TV broadcast. That was exactly his intention. Fred envisioned the show as an emotional classroom. While others focused on letters and numbers, Fred guided children through the complex maze of feelings: fear, anger, sadness, and joy, giving them the words to understand and express what was happening inside. Topics that many adults avoided, like loss, separation, race, and disabilities, were handled with grace and honesty, never minimizing a child's experience. His show moved at a deliberate, unhurried pace, not because it lacked energy, but because it respected the emotional space children needed. The neighborhood of make-believe became an imaginative extension of his world, where puppets like King Friday the 13th, Daniel Tiger, and Lady Elaine Fairchild acted out situations mirroring real-life struggles. Fred himself voiced many of these characters, each reflecting facets of his personality and inner world. Over 31 seasons and 895 episodes, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood created an unmatched legacy. While the entertainment world often thrives on the spectacular, Fred proved that sincerity could be even more captivating. In a world filled with noise, Fred offered stillness. In place of constant stimulation, he gave children honest conversations about their fears and hopes. His face-to-face approach became a refuge for kids growing up amidst chaos. For many, those 30 minutes spent with Fred were the calmest moments of their day, a gentle pause where they felt seen and understood. Although the show's pace was tranquil, its guest list brought in a vibrant variety of talents. Fred welcomed a diverse range of guests: artists, musicians, scientists, and even animals, who all brought unique experiences to the show. World-renowned cellist Yo-Yo Ma revealed how music can express emotions words often cannot. Celebrity chef Julia Child charmed viewers as she cooked in Fred's kitchen, blending her love of food with gentle conversation. LeVar Burton from Reading Rainbow shared his passion for literacy, while magician David Copperfield introduced moments of wonder. Legendary singer Tony Bennett offered his soothing vocals, and even Coco the gorilla captivated audiences by communicating with Fred through sign language, a breathtaking display of cross-species connection. Regardless of fame, every guest was treated with equal dignity, embodying Fred's core belief: everyone deserves respect. The entertainment industry recognized this quiet force. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood earned numerous accolades: 4 Daytime Emmy Awards, 55 Emmy nominations, the prestigious Sign Golden Eagle Award for Educational Programming, and in 1997, Fred received the Daytime Emmy Lifetime Achievement Award. His acceptance speech remains unforgettable, as he asked the star-studded audience to pause for 10 seconds and reflect on those who helped shape them. The entire room fell silent. That moment spoke louder than any applause ever could. But for Fred, these honors were never the goal. His true reward was knowing he had made a difference, offering children a space where they felt loved and acknowledged. Even after its final episode aired in 2001, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood continued to live on, finding new audiences through streaming services and online platforms. Today, generations of children still discover his gentle wisdom, his iconic cardigan, and his timeless songs. Shows like Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood, produced by Fred Rogers Productions, carry his mission forward, preserving his legacy of kindness and emotional honesty. Fred once beautifully said, "The greatest gift you ever give is your honest self." That's exactly what he offered the world. Unfiltered authenticity, wrapped in kindness. In Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, that gift remains as vibrant and necessary today as it was decades ago. To fully appreciate Fred's journey, we must meet the remarkable woman who stood by his side throughout it all. Their story adds a layer of depth that few know. Long before she became known as Mrs. Fred Rogers, Joanne Bird was crafting her own extraordinary path. Born in 1928 in Jacksonville, Florida, she grew up in a household where music, curiosity, and thoughtful conversation were cherished. While her parents weren't affluent, they instilled in her a strong sense of purpose and resilience. Her father traveled for work, while her mother nurtured the home with love and stability. Early on, Joanne discovered the power of speaking up and, just as importantly, the art of truly listening. Music quickly became more than a pastime. It became Joanne's voice. By grade school, she was already recognized as a gifted pianist, playing not for praise, but because it stirred something deep within her. She explored classical, jazz, and folk with equal passion. Attending Rollins College in Florida, Joanne pursued her musical talent with determination, earning respect for both her technical skill and the emotional depth she infused into every performance. At Rollins, she wasn't just a student, she was a force. Professors admired her dedication, classmates were drawn to her warmth, and whether performing solo or accompanying others, Joanne's music spoke volumes without uttering a word. Fame never interested her. Connection did. She valued authentic friendships, meaningful dialogue, and a sense of community far more than public recognition. After college, Joanne continued her studies at Florida State University before heading to Pittsburgh's Carnegie Tech, now Carnegie Mellon, where she further honed her artistry and deepened her self-awareness. Her time there wasn't solely about refining her musical craft. It was about defining her identity as an independent, vibrant woman with a vision uniquely her own. Teaching became another avenue for Joanne to share her gifts. In the 1950s, she taught at Chatham College's Preparatory Music School, and later at Carlow College in the early 1970s. Alongside her teaching, she performed professionally with her dear friend Jeanine Morrison as a celebrated piano duo, recording albums that showcased their virtuosity and chemistry. Joanne never saw herself as merely someone's partner or sidekick. She had her own journey, filled with vibrant independence, intellectual curiosity, and heartfelt expression. Whether at the piano or in a simple conversation, she radiated grace, humor, and an unshakable calm that captivated everyone around her. Her lifelong dedication was honored in 2019 with an honorary degree from Duquesne University, recognizing her immense contributions to music and education. So when her path finally crossed with Fred Rogers, a man equally rich in kindness and creativity, it wasn't chance. It was two souls meeting at precisely the right moment. It's easy to glance at a love story that lasted more than 50 years and assume you know it. Smiling photographs, polished interviews, and decades of shared history give the illusion of a picture-perfect romance. But when it came to Fred and Joanne Rogers, the real beauty of their bond was hidden in the quiet spaces, the tender exchanges no one else saw. This wasn't a tale driven by grand displays of affection or glittering public appearances. Instead, their love blossomed in the most unexpected place: the hushed corridors of a Florida college music hall. It was the late 1940s at Rollins College, where destiny quietly orchestrated their first meeting. Both were immersed in the world of music, their lives revolving around notes and rhythms, rather than fleeting college flings. Joanne, with her sharp mind and independent spirit, was never one to be swept away easily. Yet, Fred Rogers stood out, not because of any flashy charm, but because of his profound ability to listen, truly listen. That attentive kindness drew Joanne in, and slowly, something rare and enduring began to take root between them. Their connection wasn't ignited by candlelit dinners or grand proposals, but by simple conversations in piano practice rooms, shared recitals, and quiet companionship. They discovered a rhythm together, a partnership grounded in mutual respect and emotional safety. They both spoke the language of music, but more importantly, they understood each other's hearts in a way few others ever could. As their bond deepened, life threw its early tests at them. After college, Fred moved to New York to begin a job with NBC while Joanne stayed behind in Florida. Long-distance love in those days required patience that most people today can't even imagine. There were no video calls or instant texts, just handwritten letters, each one filled with hope, longing, and an ever-growing trust. And then, tucked within one of those letters, came the question that would change everything. Fred proposed. Joanne was so overwhelmed by emotion that she sprinted to the nearest phone booth to say yes, barely able to contain her excitement. That letter became one of their most treasured keepsakes, a symbol of a love built to withstand anything. In 1952, they married and stepped into a life together that would span more than half a century. But their marriage wasn't some polished fairy tale. It was a vibrant, evolving partnership filled with laughter, mistakes, quiet understanding, and the grounding power of shared music. Often, they'd play piano duets, delighting not only in the flawless notes, but also in the occasional missteps, laughing together as they found their way back to harmony. When the world's pressures grew heavy, Joanne was Fred's sanctuary, offering the stability and calm he needed to carry on his mission. As their family grew with the birth of their sons, James and John, Joanne took on a role far beyond what the public ever saw. She wasn't merely Fred Rogers' wife or the mother of his children. She became the emotional center of their home. She understood his rhythms, respected his silences, and supported his unwavering routine, never trying to mold him into something he wasn't. While Fred's calm demeanor became iconic, Joanne was the one person who held space for his complexities. The doubts, the worries, the weight he carried silently. Though Fred was known for his simplicity and gentleness, Joanne knew the deeper truth. Her husband's kindness wasn't effortless. It was intentional. He chose kindness every day, even when the emotional toll threatened to overwhelm him. And while millions saw a steady man in a cardigan, speaking directly to children with endless patience, Joanne stood by his side through the quiet struggles no one else ever witnessed. Despite the immense fame Fred eventually achieved, their marriage remained rooted in the ordinary joys of life. Mornings filled with music, quiet laughter during daily routines, and moments of authentic connection. They didn't crave the spotlight. Instead, they found fulfillment in the comforting rhythm of their shared life, a rhythm they chose together, again and again, for more than 50 years. While cameras captured the image of America's favorite neighbor, the man behind the scenes carried emotional burdens most couldn't imagine. For Fred, the responsibility of being a comforting voice to countless children was deeply personal. The public adored his unwavering gentleness, but maintaining that persona required quiet discipline. Joanne once shared that Fred wasn't the flawless saint many imagined. He struggled, felt deeply, and worried constantly whether he was doing enough. Yet his choice to continue showing up with love made his kindness even more remarkable. Fred followed strict daily habits, swimming each morning, stepping on the scale to ensure he maintained his symbolic weight of 143 pounds. To him, that number wasn't random. 1 letter for I, 4 for love, and 3 for you. A small but powerful reminder of his mission to spread love in every interaction. But even with these comforting routines, the weight of his responsibility quietly gnawed at him. The pressure didn't just impact Fred, it touched every corner of their home. Joanne often took on the more challenging parenting roles, setting boundaries and maintaining order while Fred gravitated toward gentleness. That balance wasn't always easy, but their deep understanding of one another allowed them to navigate even the trickiest of moments. And just when you think you know the full story, Joanne's candid revelation adds a new, unexpected layer to Fred's legacy. Her honesty doesn't diminish his goodness, it amplifies it, reminding us that even the kindest hearts carry hidden struggles. What she eventually revealed reshaped how many viewed the man in the cardigan forever, peeling back the final layer of a man who spent his life teaching others how to love. When people first hear the phrase "awful truth," they often expect some dark secret or scandal. But what Joanne Rogers revealed about her husband Fred was something far more profound. A truth rooted in vulnerability, quiet pain, and quiet strength. While millions saw the steady, comforting presence of Mr. Rogers, Joanne lived through the private battles that never made it to television screens. In his final chapter, Fred Rogers confronted not disgrace, but the deeply human struggle of facing the end. Fred's signature warmth was no shield against the unexpected blow that came with his diagnosis. The subtle discomfort began innocently enough, just mild indigestion and a few dietary adjustments.
But soon, those mild symptoms unraveled into an unsettling reality. The news hit like a silent storm. Stomach cancer had advanced, and time was slipping away. For someone whose life had been dedicated to calming others' fears, Fred now had to navigate his own. As treatments began, the emotional toll became just as heavy as the physical one. Joanne witnessed the steady, dependable man she loved wrestle with moments of doubt and sorrow. Even as his strength waned, Fred insisted on showing up for his commitments, a beacon of resilience. One of his final public appearances was as Grand Marshal of the Rose Parade in January 2003, a brief but powerful reminder of his unwavering devotion to his audience. Surgery offered only temporary reprieve. Back home, the piano became his sanctuary, filling the air with gentle melodies as his body weakened. On February 27, 2003, Fred passed away peacefully at home, just a day after his grandson's birthday. For years, Joanne kept these intimate details private, guarding the image Fred had carefully cultivated. But eventually, she realized that sharing his vulnerable moments would honor him more deeply, presenting a fuller picture of the man so many admired. Joanne spoke openly about how illness shifted their relationship. The steadfast protector now needed her strength. She became his caregiver, balancing immense love with the exhaustion of watching her partner slip away. Yet even during the darkest moments, Fred's humor and lightness never fully dimmed. In his final days, Joanne reassured him, "We're going to be okay. The boys will be fine, and I'm going to try to be fine." Her candid reflections transformed Fred from an untouchable icon into a deeply relatable figure. Documentaries like Won't You Be My Neighbor revealed these hidden layers, and Joanne's insights pulled back the curtain on the man who, despite his fame, faced fears like anyone else. Grief remained her constant companion after Fred's passing, ebbing and flowing unpredictably. Even years later, Joanne admitted that grief never fully leaves, but sharing Fred's full story brought a different kind of peace. When many expected Joanne to retreat into quiet mourning, she stepped into a new role, the fierce guardian of Fred's legacy. As chair emerita of Fred Rogers Productions, she ensured his vision of empathy and understanding continued reaching new generations. While the media landscape evolved rapidly, Joanne protected the gentle heart of Fred's work, ensuring his shows still taught children about emotions, kindness, and friendship. Joanne's commitment wasn't limited to behind-the-scenes leadership. She actively shared Fred's message at public events, interviews, and even made a memorable cameo in the 2019 film A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood. That brief appearance offered a personal glimpse into their shared life, enriching the film's emotional core. Her passion extended beyond Fred's legacy. As a concert pianist, Joanne continued sharing her love of music, using it as another form of connection and healing. Friends often spoke of her humor and practical wisdom, qualities that perfectly balanced Fred's soft-spoken warmth and helped keep his spirit alive long after his passing. Fred's famous 143 mantra, meaning "I love you," encapsulated his philosophy of intentional kindness. He meticulously maintained his weight at 143 pounds as a living embodiment of that message. Even after his death, Pennsylvania honored his legacy by establishing 143 Day on May 23rd, encouraging small acts of kindness. On January 14, 2021, Joanne passed away at 92 in the same Pittsburgh home they once shared, leaving behind not just cherished memories but a continuation of Fred's message through their children and the countless lives they touched. Together, Fred and Joanne never sought glamour. They embraced a quiet, steadfast love that resonated far beyond their neighborhood. Financially, Fred Rogers lived a modest yet comfortably successful life. While he never flaunted wealth, his estate reflected smart, intentional choices. His Pittsburgh home was simple and welcoming, avoiding the excesses common in Hollywood. Fred preferred practicality over luxury cars or extravagant spending. His wristwatch of choice was a basic, reliable timepiece, reflecting his minimalist values. His primary business investment remained Fred Rogers Productions, which not only secured his creative control, but ensured long-term financial stability for his family. Smart insurance policies covered both health and production risks, safeguarding his family's future. The key financial lesson from Fred's journey is profound. Build wealth through purpose-driven work, protect your assets, and let simplicity be your luxury. Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And for more stories that reveal the hidden layers behind your favorite icons, tap the next video now.